Batman is a movie, and it's okay. The cinematography is good for the most part. There are some really interesting and creative shots, and there's clever ways that information is delivered to you. There's some cool scene and camera transitions, like the one where Batman's running down the building and then it switches perspective. The sound in this film is pretty great, especially for the car chase scene and Batman just using his car in general. I think that's the only good thing that came out of watching this in IMAX. Now, I don't have the best experience watching films in IMAX. This was most apparent in Endgame when Captain America was fighting Thanos. I couldn't really tell what was going on sitting in the theater, and I found myself in a similar situation here. I'm not sure if it's just the film's problem, but the car chase just seemed really confusing to me. Like, I didn't really have a clear idea what was happening at any given moment. Is this shot showing the Penguin's car or the Batman's? Who's having trouble and issues? Who's crashing into the trucks? Who's leading the car chase? Where are their positions relative to each other? I like the scene, it's one of my favorites of the movie, but I just couldn't tell what was going on. Maybe if I watch it in a normal theater or at home I'll be able to tell. I don't know. The acting is fine. Don't think there was any standout performances, but goddamn, Colin Farrell had some really good makeup on. I guess since he's the star of the show, Robert Pattinson was okay. I guess he did a good job with the material he was given. However, my biggest complaints are probably with Jeffrey Wright and Paul Dano, who play Commissioner Gordon and the Riddler respectively. Jeffrey tries to make Commissioner Gordon really serious, and has a really gruff voice throughout the entire film, but it just comes off as incredibly forced and not natural. Paul Dano does his best to play a mentally insane character, but there's a fine line between believable and realistic insane character and just cartoonish, off-the-walls insane character. I mean, he stays on the line for the most part, but there are definitely points where he goes way off. I hope I can find the clip where his voice sounded like a lawnmower. Ah, here it is. Oh yeah, I just remembered there's so much cringe dialogue in this movie. Catwoman keeps referring to the Batman as Vengeance, and it just comes off as really weird.
Come on, Vengeance.
Batman does some narrating in this film, and there's also some cringe in there. He literally says, "They think I'm in the shadows, but I am the shadows." In other reviews I've read, this film seems to be heavily inspired by other detective films, and I noticed this as well. This mainly came from the Riddler. Most of the stuff that happens with him, especially towards the end of the film, felt a lot like Seven. All that did was make me appreciate Seven more and make me wish I was watching that instead of this. And as I was noticing the similarities to Seven, I kind of thought that this film was just average with its detective story plot. Like, it wasn't doing anything clever or interesting. It keeps you invested in the story, but there isn't anything special about it. There was only one twist in the whole movie, which I thought was good, and there were meant to be several, and even that one was undercut by the follow-up one. If you want to avoid spoilers, then skip about here. There you go. The good twist was Riddler's plan to flood Gotham City. I thought that would have gone somewhere interesting, where Batman has to realize he can't save everyone, and it gets really depressing and dark, basically just seeing where the consequences of this twist go. But it didn't really do that, so I was a little disappointed. And the follow-up was to have Riddler goons just shooting everyone. That added nothing to the story, and I could care less where it went. Oh no, the mayor got shot! I wasn't really invested in her story or her character, so I didn't really care if she died or not. Either way, it wouldn't have done much for the film. I guess the reason why I didn't care much about that scene was because I just knew from the whole movie that every main character had plot armor. You're not gonna kill the Batman because he's the main character in his first standalone film. You're not gonna kill Catwoman because she's the love interest. You're not gonna kill Commissioner Gordon because you literally told us early on in the film. Also, this film could really have done with a higher rating, like R16 or something. I don't know, not because I like gore or anything, just felt it would fit the style and the tone more, adding more impact to the especially brutal and intense scenes that are in the film. And one final point, the scene at the end of the film teasing the Joker was Zack Snyder Justice League levels of cringe. Not quite as bad, but still pretty cringe. So yeah, that's my thoughts on The Batman 2022, Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson. I'd have to see this movie again to be sure of my rating, but for now it's a 6 out of 10. Could be a 5.5, could be a 6.5, I don't know, but I feel pretty confident with a 6. I hope everyone who watches it enjoys it and gets something out of it. If not, if yes, it doesn't matter, bye.